Hi, I'm Kelly Johnston, founder of the Forex Formula, and the big question is this: how are real estate agents like us able to create a constant stream of commissions and a constant stream of leads while enjoying life, without wasting big budgets on branding, without working crazy hours, without worrying where the next deal's coming from in today's real estate market? This podcast is here to reveal the answers.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'm so glad that you've tuned in and you're carrying on listening to our podcasts. I'm really excited to get a bunch of information out to you and stuff. And I thought, you know what? We're going to do that. Like, I'm just going to keep recording stuff. And I hope that you find value in everything. And you know what? Sometimes it's just a matter of kind of listening through things and kind of going, oh, wow, this person kind of relates to maybe something I'm going through right now, or have gone through and maybe could have approached it differently, or you can help someone else that's maybe going through some stuff, or you have some light bulb moments, kind of those aha kind of things. Oh yeah, like if I approached it that way. So anyway, I just really hope that those kind of things can happen while you're listening to our podcasts. I'm not really trained at speaking really well, or I'm not a very polished type of speaker. You may think my voice sounds funny or whatever, but I really hope that the information comes to you in a way that you can at least relate to it and find some sort of value. You'll hear lots of ums and ahs and stuff like that, but that's just because I'm thinking. I'm not reading from a script. I just don't think that's the way to do it. And so, I guess I could. I do make some sort of notes because I tend to go off track a little bit and kind of go down these little trails. So I've got to keep myself on track. So I have a little bit of notes there, but really more than anything, I'm hoping, because this happens when I'm working with people or helping out new agents, or we're going over something. All of a sudden, these nuggets of stuff will just come out, and I'm kind of going, wow, is that me saying that? Like, this is like really valuable stuff. People need to hear that. Like, everybody needs to hear all this stuff, because this would really be helpful for a lot of people. I really think if they thought of it this way, or took extra time in this manner, or kind of focused like this, they could that would be like game changer type stuff for some people. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm hoping happens throughout these podcasts, and who knows, no guarantees, I guess, but I thought before getting into all of this stuff, and I'm going to try and keep every podcast talking about a specific subject. It's going to talk about something, a theme of some sort that I hope will help you. And that way you can kind of pick and choose as you go through it. And maybe you need to hear things again, but I'll label them that way so you'll be able to see that. But this one here, I think might be good for you to kind of just hear a little bit about my story, where I came from, how I started. And maybe that'll just give you a little bit of a platform to kind of decide, you know what, I don't think I relate to this guy. This guy is nothing like what I want to be, or whatever. And so that's fine. Then you can just kind of move on and find somebody else to listen to. Or, maybe you're going to kind of go, you know what, this is something that, I relate to this. This is kind of, I kind of feel this, and I find that this is helpful to me, and I believe this person thinks like me, or that kind of stuff. And if that's the way it is, fantastic. Stick around, and let's get to know each other. And then through that, hopefully there's some benefits that happen out of that for you. And that's what I want. That's the whole reason I'm doing this. So anyway, I started out in 1997. And that's when I became licensed as a realtor. And I didn't, like, there was no kind of, I don't have an overnight success story at all. Always kind of did okay. But started off really rocky, like in the beginning. And at the time in our market, it was actually, it was a downturning market at the time. It was kind of like 1994, 95. There was a shift in the market at the time. Where we lived, there was like an army base that had a population of about 30,000 people, and they shut down the army base, and about 30,000 people left our community, and so there was this shuffle going on in our community. I didn't know any different. I didn't know anything. I actually had a coffee shop that I was part owner of, and with a few guys, and I'd worked like three or four. Like at one time, I actually had 4 jobs. I was a waiter at 3 different places, and I was landscaping. Or sorry, 2 different places, and I was landscaping, and then I was teaching some classes. Long story on that, but anyway, and just making money. Single guy living with a bunch of roommates, and then I got a part in it. Anyways, long story short, I started off that there was some problems with that business, and it had kind of the vicious triangle. There was the 3 partners, and one partner was taking from the company, and it was just not a good thing. It was horrible. I was very green. I was young. I didn't know much about business or anything, and I didn't even know what success was. I had no idea what good money was. I had no kind of measuring stick to measure to. Raised on a farm, just kind of always understood struggle, and my parents were always arguing about money, and there was challenges there, and I was the oldest, so I kind of heard it all. And anyway, it's just one of those things where I just didn't understand, what making good money was, what making a good living was. Never, because we didn't really have a lot of money growing up, and so anyway, so I was a bankrupt and going through the bankruptcy stuff, and it takes a couple years to go through all that. There's a long story behind all that, but I won't get into that today. And so my partner that I started with was a guy that I'd known since we were 7 years old. So we had a huge history, and he was a good friend of mine at the time, and he was doing really well. He was in real estate, and but the thing is, he had managed to, like, I went on one path, and he went on a little bit of a different path, and he managed to buy and sell a couple houses and kind of hit it in the late 80s, early 90s, made some profit on a few things. And so he had some money in the bank and was driving nicer cars and had this real estate business. And he was a hustling type of guy, like worked really hard, and he would just hustle, and very money oriented, very focused type individual. And I started out with him, and he needed somebody to help him and get him going. So did all that. And long story short, I'll fast forward real quick on that. About 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 or 5 years into it, things just started going wrong in the sense of the lifestyle stuff. My partner just went off on a whole different tangent. Started getting involved with drinking a lot, and he never drank. Like when we were living together, that was his thing. He never drank. He was just focused. He was just wanted to stay focused, and then all of a sudden he got into drinking, and very addictive personality, of course. So anyway, so I kind of became an enabler for him. I would kind of cover up for him, and I would do things, and I would be up early and taking care of things, but really just, it was not a good situation. And then he started doing drugs, and then people that he did drugs with started hanging around, and all of a sudden there was some bad things going on, and I just kind of had to get away from it. So I had to start over. So I had to kind of carve off myself from him, and which was not easy. It was one of those tough things to do, because I really was hoping that he'd be normal again, and because I knew him from when we were 7 years old, and so anyway, it was a very hard thing for me, but I sliced myself off from that, and we really haven't been part of each other's lives since then, because I couldn't. He's a whirlwind type person. You know those type of people that come into your life, and they're just like they're just a force. They just, like, they come into a room even, and they just create this stir, and they have this energy about them that affects everybody. He was that type of person. And so I knew I couldn't be part of that because I would just get sucked into it again. And so anyway, started over. So there was the first start over coming from bankruptcy and just starting something. But now I'm licensed and I'm doing stuff and I have an understanding of how to do things. And I went on my own. And so I had to really build everything because really it was his business I was helping him with. So I had to start all over. So I started over. And as I was starting to get more confidence, I started to understand that I'm going to need some help. I need to build a team. I need to, I started to think big. I had zero training. Like there was nothing I actually learned mostly the wrong ways to do things. And that's a whole other really long story, but I won't get into that today. But it was just not good. And so I had to start all over and really kind of figure it out. So I started trying to figure out who to model on how to build a business. And then what I did is I just started reading everything. Like I had a habit of reading. It's one thing that I encourage everybody to do. Get into a habit of reading information that feeds your brain, I call it. Stuff, storybook stuff is fine and it's a great little escape, but that's just chewing gum for the brain. It's not really doing anything for you, really. So I would read books, and I have a whole shelf of tons of books. And some of it's good, some of it's not so good. There's some messaging and some of the success principle, quotey fingers up books out there that can be mixed messaging and kind of maybe not be right thinking, but that's okay. A lot of new age stuff and all that. But basically what I was doing is focusing on rejigging my brain so that I would understand what success was. And I never did understand it. I learned how to stretch my brain and kind of understand, wow, like $100,000 to me at the time seemed so out of reach. This is the late 90s now, but it was like so far away. And then I started making it, and I actually thought that I was like a millionaire guy because now I'm making $100,000. Because in my life prior to that, my understanding of $100,000 was like not many people made that, and it was just so hard to get there, and it was just like this pinnacle to reach. And when I got there, I really thought that was the everything. And so it was all about gaining an understanding. So I came from a really weird place. And I don't know if you kind of relate to that or not, but just so you know, the growing that I had to go through to kind of understand that and have the character to kind of back all of that up took a long time. So anyway, there's lots of failures in my story. There's lots of money lost in my stories. There's lots of clients lost. There's more clients gone that I probably even know that didn't become part of my business or didn't be part of my foundational part of my business. There's all that just kind of happened that I know happened. Even from the struggling part of it, like trying to figure out where my next $5 is to drive people around. And I had to talk someone into my wife and I only had one car, and she was, we were living in a basement suite, and I had to get up at 4 a.m. so that I could drive her to her job. She had to open a little coffee shop about 40 minutes away from where we lived. And then I would drive back, and I would use the car all day, and then I'd have to drive back and get her and come back in. And so all these crazy things that we went through in our life, and where we started. So I just want you to know, like, if you're going through any kind of struggle, or you're having a challenge with money, or you're not sure how you're going to pay for things the next month, or you have no savings, and you're feeling that sense of struggle or helplessness or whatever. If you're in that place and you're in real estate, or you're thinking about getting into real estate, I just want to let you know there is hope for you. Like there is a way to get through it. There's and that's what the Club 100 Forex Formula program is all about, because I know I know that I can take anybody, any kind of personality, any kind of wherever you're from in your life, whatever your background, whatever anything. I know I can take you and I can help you get to that. First of all, get to the 100 grand a year thing. And then after that, figure out how to double, triple, quadruple, whatever. That all can be done. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. The one thing I did have that maybe you don't have, but I'm hoping you get, is that the willingness to fail, the willingness to try, the willingness to really just focus and understand that once you know the things that you need to do in order to build your business, once you have that knowledge, then what happens with that is all of a sudden accountability gets built into that. Knowledge is nothing, it's just knowledge. But then there's accountability that has to go in behind that knowledge. And that accountability says, now you got to take action with that knowledge. Knowledge without action is nothing. So, and that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping to kind of build that huge belief with you, give you all the tools, throw it in your toolbox, put you in the right vehicle so that you can take this machine to a successful level, whatever you choose that to be. And that's what I want to do for you. But the gas that goes into that machine is you. That's your will, right? That's your belief. That's your intention. That's your goal and your why and all that kind of stuff. All of that makes up your gas that will fuel the vehicle. And but we're going to give you the vehicle. But you know what? In our course, we actually go over the why. We go over the goal setting, and then we hold you accountable to those things. And as we move through the course, what we do is we make sure that we have successes along the way. Success breeds success. That's a fact. That's a well-known fact. So when you have little successes, then you kind of go, wow, I could do that. What about this? Can I do this? Yeah. Here's the tools. Here's how you do it. Here's why you want to do it. Okay, cool. Then you go and do it. And then we give you another idea of, okay, well, now that you know how to do this, now you can do this. Have you thought about that? And here's the tools. And here's how you can do it. Really? I can do this? Yeah. Belief. We build in belief. And then you go, okay, well, let me try. So then you try it. Why do I want to do it again? Remind yourself. Okay, cool. That, yes, I want that. I want to do that. And that's my goals, right? Got to revisit the goals. I see a challenge. Wait a minute. Is your eye on the goal? Is your eye on the goal? Can you still see the goal? Or do you just see the challenge? Well, I know. What's the goal again? Why are you doing this? Oh, yeah. Oh, I can see the goal again. Okay, now it's not a challenge so much. It's not a wall. It's now just a speed bump. Something you can get over, right? Something you got to just overcome. And so that's what we want to do. So we want to give you all the tools and all the how-tos and all of the stuff to get you there. And I'm talking everything. Like the other day, I was in the office and a brand new guy started out. He just kind of a couple weeks, and we threw a lead at him just to kind of get him started on something. I had a lead I thought I'd throw at him just to get him working on it, and he got an email from the guy asking a question. Oh, no, sorry. Gave him a lead. So he had a listing, and then he got an inquiry off that listing. So he got a basic inquiry from the system that basically says, hey, give me more information about this listing. So just so you know, everybody, just so you guys know, this is a prime example of Kelly going off track. I am like way off track right now. But you know what? I'm going to do this because I think this is valuable. So here we are. Oh man. Okay. I hope you guys are having fun with me. Let's just have fun. Okay. So anyway, but he starts answering the email. He says, Kelly, and I said, well, what? He goes, yeah, I got an inquiry. I said, okay, cool. And I said, let me know before you send the email back. Let me read it. So, and he says, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really understand why, but that's fine. And so I'm like, yeah, okay. So then he came and got me after he wrote in the email. So I sat down and I read his email. His email was very nice. It was very cordial. It was, it seemed like a nice guy was typing the email. But what he was doing is he was basically just giving the information to the person, and then he was ready to hit send. And sorry, I got a little bit of a cold, so I got to keep kind of hydrating as I go here. Anyway, and I'm like, wow, okay, perfect. This is a teaching moment, right? Here's an example of a teaching moment. We go over this stuff in the course, like all these little nitty gritty things, like how do you answer an email? What do you say when you call somebody back who's inquiring on a listing? How do you approach a sign call? How do you approach, all these things? And what's your attitude behind it? And this is the thing, you guys. Today we're going to learn something right now. Okay, so this is the thing. You can take 2 minutes to respond to somebody and give them the information. It's really easy right now. You just send a link to the things and blah, 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 and here's the listing and here's all the information, right? That's easy to do. You have delivered what that person is expecting. So that client now, or potential client or inquiry or whatever, is really not a person yet, right? They're just somebody inquiring on something, but they're not really a person to you. And what they're thinking about you right now, in that moment when they're inquiring about a listing, is you are the information source. That's all you are. You're not a person. You're just the information source, right? When someone sends an inquiry through on a listing and they go, I would like to see this place on Saturday at 10 a.m. And they're just hoping, they're actually just expecting that your schedule is open on Saturday at 10 a.m. because obviously you got nothing else to do. And I'm being facetious right now. And they're obviously just expecting that you're just sitting around wondering what to do. And so they've now given you something to do. And then now what you are to them is a door opener. So you're going to go and you're going to open the door so that they can go look at this property. Do you understand what I mean? It's very one-dimensional, right? It's very one-dimensional. So if you allow people to treat you like that, and I'm not, they don't mean to, they're not bad people. They're not people that but if you allow it to happen, then you're just going to continue to be that to them, right? So this is something that you need to think about, and this is something that we teach in the 4X formula training, is that you need to be more than just a door opener or an information source or a necessary evil to people. You need to be more than that. You need to be somebody that is now going to create value for their lives, for those people. Okay? So how do you do that? How do you do that? So, actually, I'm going to be in a Zoom meeting in here in just a little bit, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. But how do you do that? How do you create value to those people when you answer that email, right? Here's a couple ideas. Okay, first of all, you can give them some of the information. You can talk about some of the assets of that home, condo, townhome, house, acreage, whatever. But in that, you need to ask some questions. You need to point out some things that maybe would be things that they wouldn't know. Maybe ask a question that would get them thinking, oh, I never thought of that, right? Are schools important to them? Is a neighborhood important to them? Do they want to be close to the downtown area? Are they looking for investment? Is this a 3 to 5 year plan, or is this their 20-year home? Is this their first home? Do they have children? Do they commute to work? All those types of things are questions, right? But in the information that you're giving back now, asking questions and kind of saying, hey, if you're looking for something else more like this, I could send you some other listings too. If you're coming out on Saturday anyway at 10, I think I might have a window of time in there, but maybe, or 1 o'clock might be better for me. Would 1 o'clock work for you, to let them know that you are actually busy, you're actually doing other things, and you're going to make time for them because they're special and they're important? Do you see the posturing that's going on there? So I did that really quick just to kind of give you an idea of the thought process that has to go into an email. How do you build value? So that's the questions that you need to ask yourself when you're answering that email. How do I build value to this person? How do I make them feel like there's stuff they don't know? that I can help them know, or help them understand, or help them navigate through? How can I weave in questions, some terminology, some understanding of that area or whatever that they may not know, so that they kind of go, oh, I never thought of that, right? Would that make sense? Okay, Nate is here. We're going to start our meeting, and I'm going to sign off.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that last episode. Here's the reality that you may or may not know. The top 20% of real estate agents take home 80% of the money out there, while the bottom 80% are fighting over 20% of the scraps that are left. Do you have a desire to be in the top 20%? If you're working hard and not sustainably making 6 figures of income and beyond, the problem is not you, it's your system. I struggled for years until one day the light bulb came on and I figured out how to simplify the real estate business. If you want to learn my secrets that anyone can implement immediately, that I still use every day, that pays me multiple 6 figures every year, go to 4xformula.com right now. That's 4xformula.com. The number 4xformula.com.